we just can't avoid this issue? Libya, should we be there? Do we have the right purpose and the right mission right now?
Yeah, I would say in general we should stop the bloodbath that was probably going to be inevitable. I've heard a lot of talk these days about whether Hillary Clinton and talking to Bill Clinton about what happened in Rwanda, and then maybe that influenced Obama. Yeah, it probably did. I'm sure Obama knew all that. I don't think he had to talk to Hillary Clinton about it. And also I've heard people say half measures don't work. Well, they worked in Kosovo, the bombing campaign that we did over Serbia in the Clinton administration. That seemed to have stopped that genocide. So I think when people are about to be slaughtered, there is a case to be made that the talking has to stop and you have to kind of do something, and you feel much better about it the next day. You know, people live in the short run, to paraphrase FDR.
Look, I'm with you 100%. I think we not only need it to go in. My concern, in fact, is that we don't have a specific enough mission statement. I don't think we should stop until Gaddafi is gone. Do you agree with that, or do you think that we can just stop the genocide now or stop the slaughter now but leave him in place? Or would that be a half measure that would be insufficient to accomplishing the long-run goal of democracy, freedom, liberalization?
You know, there are no good answers to that question. I mean, if you insist on getting rid of Gaddafi, that means, I think, you have to send in ground troops at some point. I'm, first of all, very glad that we're not taking the lead on this. That's the first thing I said on our show a couple of weeks ago when Libya was in the news, was let somebody else do it for a change. On the other hand, I know what you're saying. The United States is gaining a terrible reputation around the world as a country that doesn't really stick up to its commitments, abandon its friends. I mean, the Bay of Pigs did not look good. Vietnam punching people as they tried to get into the helicopter on the roof, that didn't look good. 91, the first President Bush leaving the Kurds and the Shiites after they thought we were going to come to their aid, rising up against Saddam Hussein. You know, we're like Newt Gingrich. We leave you when you're in trouble.
Well, look, you could add 56 in Hungary. I think that also is, I think, the other example where he encouraged revolution and then did nothing to assist those who actually stood up. But let me ask you, put this into the larger context of the revolutions that are sweeping North Africa and the Middle East. How do you put that into some larger context? Is this an Arab awakening towards democracy, towards liberalization, freedom? How do you understand that?
I do. And I think the key point to understand is that it had to be organic. I know that conservatives would like to think that the United States going into Iraq in 2003 is really what caused this uprising, but we know that's not true. If that was what had caused the uprising, then they would have stood up at that moment when we pulled down the statue of Saddam Hussein and they were hitting it with the shoe. That would be the moment when the people all over the Middle East would have said, hey, I want some of that cheese too. But they didn't, because that was something that wasn't organic. That was a foreign invader doing it, and they just turned away and nothing happened. Now it's 8 years later. It happened organically, and now we see the chance for real change in the Middle East. But that's how it has to happen, and that's one of the dangers, of course, of Western powers getting involved in these revolutions. It taints them.
Look, you're exactly right. We cannot make it our revolution. If it isn't organic, it will not succeed in the long run. On the other hand, there are times when we have to provide some assistance, such as in Libya right now. Otherwise, Gaddafi could crush it. I think that's the delicate balance we've got to weigh in every one of these circumstances.